Houston rapper Sauce Walka is recovering after being hurt in a shooting that killed another man Saturday afternoon in downtown Memphis. The rapper was shot in the thigh. Another man shot later died. The rapper's father tells KPRC2 his son is doing well despite being shaken up by the shooting. Police say they've identified a suspect and are working to make an arrest.
New details in the downtown shooting near FedEx Forum that killed Memphis rapper Sayso P and injured Houston rapper Sauce Walka. Memphis police say murder suspect Jaden Dandridge was found dead.
I spoke with Sauce Walka's father. He told me physically he's going to be okay. He is on crutches recovering from the shooting that happened right here in downtown Memphis over the weekend. But right now, they're all focusing on mourning the loss of Sayso P.
On March 22, 2025. 27-year-old hip-hop musician Latorian Hunt, better known by his stage name COP, had no idea that his normal Saturday afternoon in Memphis would be his last one. He stood across the street from the Westin Memphis B Street Hotel, where an attacker was already establishing his presence. He was preparing to wrap up the young rapper's breakthrough year of popularity. Assume that P was elevated. Regarding his recent agreement with Sauce Walka, the Houston rap icon, and his record label, The Sauce Factory. This wasn't your normal record agreement. It was proof that he was capable of more than just being dangerous. Streets in Raleigh...
Man, what are you talking about? Here's the totem people, man. Got this shit on bankroll, go yard, diamonds, all this shit, man. We having this shit, man. See what the fuck going on. Holding this shit. The sauce away, man. Still holding those. Forever holding, putting it in a gravity unit.
Sauce Walka saw something special in Hunt and brought him into his growing company at the perfect moment. This was everything COP had fought so hard to accomplish, a true path from the streets to mainstream success. Similar to other young guys from the more resilient Latorian Hunt, used music as a means to escape from his neighborhoods. His stage persona carried weight in the underground scene, where authenticity is essential to survival. A man who actively sought to improve things while preserving his roots was mentioned by friends. The TSF contract represented years of putting in a lot of effort in local venues, building a following that valued his pure storytelling abilities and genuine want for more. Sauce Walka is not only a well-known independent rapper, but also known for actively supporting the upcoming generation of hip-hop musicians. He signed Say P for reasons other than business. It was personal. The Houston rapper saw potential in the young Memphis artist that others would have overlooked because of his hunger and sincerity, which reminded him of his own journey from the streets to success. In previous interviews, Sauce Walka had passionately discussed his responsibility to guide aspiring artists, helping them to steer clear of the blunders that ruined so many promising futures. This mentorship meant the world to COP, who viewed Sauce Walka as both a business partner and an older brother, someone who genuinely cared about his well-being and success. Western Memphis should have been an impenetrable sight. Situated directly across from the FedEx Forum in the heart of downtown, the area was crowded with tourists, business people, and everyday observing. For someone like COP, who was aware of the objectives connected to his past and developing profile, this popular website would have seemed like the safest choice. Memphis has long been known for its street culture and hip-hop ambitions. There were awfully frequent world-to-world collisions. In the same environment that produced legendary performers like 36 Mafia and Young Dolph, too many outstanding talents were lost before they could reach their full potential. SEOP had a thorough understanding of this dynamic, having witnessed firsthand how tragedy could quickly transform into success in his field. He and Sauce Walka had a friendship that went beyond a mutual artistic goal. It was a lifeline to a higher level of the industry and offered security through moral business conduct and capable management. But even with these safeguards, in the streets of Memphis had the ability to stretch into any situation and quickly turn a party into a catastrophe. Around 2:45 p.m., surveillance footage showed 3 men departing a white sedan with purposeful precision. On George Wesley Avenue, a car. 2 moved with homicidal purpose, 1 in a black cloak, both exemplifying the collaboration of people who had meticulously planned this occasion. This was not an isolated act of violence. During the day, this execution occurred in one of Memphis's most prominent locations. SEOP and Sauce Walka appeared calm as the gunmen approached, completely unaware of the danger that was about to be presented. The shooters began their rounds prior to both men could answer. Walka would survive even though he was shot in the leg. Let's suppose PE took the full brunt of the onslaught. Several bullets ripped through his torso as he fell, rapidly staining his white clothing scarlet. 30 seconds. That was all it took to destroy everything he had worked so hard to create. SEOP's injuries were fatal, even though paramedics did their best to save both men. Even though Sauce Walka was still alive and provided detectives with crucial information, the young rapper's life did not last long. He was able to reach the hospital. As they began searching for answers in a case that would span multiple states, police roped off the Westin and turned it into a crime scene. Hip-hop scenes in Memphis and Houston were rocked by the revelation, which caused social media to go viral. Hop communities. The timing feels particularly severe. Seop has been composing tunes that might have brought him fame. His relatives and closest friends described a young man who was motivated by his future and committed to making use of his position to inspire those who have gone through similar things. Dreams that appeared so feasible just hours ago now lie shattered on the downtown area's pavement. At Regional One Health, Saswaka dealt with his own personal issues. The Houston-based rapper's leg. His emotional agony was more severe than his horrific injuries. As the sole witness to his protege's death, he had the enormous burden of providing investigators with descriptions while juggling his own grief and survivor's guilt. Chief C.J. Davis confirmed what everyone had been afraid of. This was a targeted hit, not a chance one. Hostility. Due to the crime's downtown location and obvious daylight timing, the Memphis Police Department's top priority was to solve it. The goal of all available resources would be to find Seop P's killers, providing a warning that violence against public officials would not be tolerated. Seop's most recent social media tweets portrayed a disturbing picture. Pure passion for future undertakings, gratitude for his partnership with Saka, and genuine optimism for the future. No signs of violence or danger. His pals described him as being at the pinnacle of his existence. His farewell post ended up being a devastating reminder of the hopes he lost on that street in Memphis. His mom showed up as his staunchest supporter, putting an end to speculation and rumors with passionate interviews. This was strongly refuted by her, who described Latoran as a loving son who had worked legally to support his family. Accusations of illegal behavior. His love for other people was his biggest flaw. She claimed that the loss represented not only the demise of herself personally, but also the passing of all the possible advantages her child would have had for his neighborhood. From his hospital bed. In a moving tribute on Instagram, Sauce Walker called SEOP family not just another artist on his label. He discussed their tight bond, their shared aspirations, and the immense potential he had seen in the young Memphis prodigy. A promise was made at the end of the post. His songs would still be heard all across the world even if COP were not there to witness his dreams come true. The velocity of the Memphis Police Department's investigation was unprecedented. In just a few days, detectives were able to identify a large number of individuals of interest. Realizing that the investigation might have connections outside of Memphis, the gang unit followed leads across state lines before joining homicide investigators. The attack's brazenness suggested that the criminals were driven by complete negligence or intense personal motivation. 4 days later, Memphis law enforcement released pictures of the primary suspect was identified as 21-year-old Jaden Dandridge. His youth, just out of adolescence, highlighted the awful reality of how violence persists, themselves in areas where young men have few options. Dandridge was perceived as armed and extremely dangerous after being charged with murder and multiple assaults. Dangerous. The manhunt, which quickly expanded to Texas, was organized by Memphis Police, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, and other law enforcement organizations. All across the South, Dandridge's flight route suggested preparation and possible outside assistance. For the families of both victims endured more suffering with each day that went by without an arrest, denying them any sense of closure while the murderer of their loved one remained free. 9 days after Seop was killed, the manhunt in Houston ended violently. Police discovered Dandridge's body, filled with bullets in what officials determined. Although the circumstances were still unknown, investigators suspected connections to the same conflicts that had taken COP. For some, it represented street justice. For others, it meant answers. Information on why SEOP was targeted may never be revealed because the primary suspect will never be tried. Memphis is still dealing with the loss of another talented artist while the hip-hop community mourns the passing of yet another talented performer. Though it was taken too soon, COP's memory serves as a warning and a call to action. His story urges us to step up our efforts to protect budding artists, deal with the root causes of violence, and ensure that dreams don't allow your success in music to make you the target of those who would sooner destroy than build. The young man who had discussed using music as a way to escape dangerous situations ultimately fell victim to the same thing. Environment he was attempting to overcome. But there remains hope that by honoring Ladder and Hunt and COP's creative vision, future generations of artists won't have to travel the same dangerous route from the slums to the spotlight. And that talent, and the only thing needed to build a better tomorrow is willpower. To build a better tomorrow is willpower.